Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another segment of the West Chamber Pop-Up. I am Christy Villanueva, president of the West San Antonio Chamber. And again, those of you who have been with us know that the West Chamber Pop-Up, it's Monday after a holiday, so thank you for joining us. You know that this is focused on business tips, business support, and how the West San Antonio Chamber can better inform our business community. So joining us today is Jon Gary Herrera. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
He is not only our board member for the West San Antonio Chamber, but he is also the Vice President of Public Engagement for Via Metropolitan Transit.
That's and all fits on one business card.
Oh my God, that's a mouthful. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jon Gary. The reason we wanted to talk to you today was because of this fantastic program that Via has. Now, we know that...
Which one?
Yes, which one?
We got a bunch.
And that's the thing. That's what's interesting is when I go out and talk to people, they don't necessarily realize that there are benefits within this organization to the general public, to the individual, to the family, and to the business owner.
Yeah, no, Chrissy, you're saying something that we're hearing as San Antonio native. This is something also that I recognize that we're entering a very critical moment in our community's growth. Mm-hmm. We've seen it, as we've gone through our energy sector, and when energy was a focus of our community got together and we put together the resources and the leadership to get us through the energy challenges that we had. We then went over to water, and water was a big piece for our community. Absolutely. And indeed, it was something about making sure we secure our water future and doing it from that standpoint. I believe now we have shifted to transportation, mm-hmm. and transportation is that key part of how we as a community are going to have to figure this out so we can have a critical infrastructure in place to help get us around this growing population.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of us more so in South Texas, we always talk about we love our vehicles. Mm-hmm. We all love our vehicles and we want to stay in those vehicles, but it's really interesting speaking to many of the millennials and folks that are moving here from outside of Texas, right, that ask, well, so what's the deal with your transit system, Well,
it's we can speak at it from a big global perspective, and then we'll get it right down to what it means to Via. But you've seen the successes of rideshare services in the last 5 to 8 years. Rideshares of Lyft and Uber, mm-hmm. two of the big examples of that. Well, they've identified a big market where folks would rather utilize transportation as a service mm-hmm. than necessarily own the asset. That's a big fundamental shift for our community and our nation, for that matter, mm-hmm. because we grew up and are in a car culture. Yes. Without a doubt, we'll still be car dominated, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. But people want options. They may not want to utilize their car all the time, and they want to have options for that. So what we're trying to do at Via is position ourselves to be those options, to be those mobility options for those folks that want to have those options for various reasons. It could be financial, it could be environmental, mm-hmm. it could be a number of different topics that they want to do it, but we want to at least provide that as a service to them.
Absolutely, and I'm all for that. And now, I used to work in transit way back in the day, mm-hmm. and so I utilized the bus service. But today, having more of a busy schedule, constantly coming and going, I've had to think of it in a different manner. Yep. And I've realized, any one of us could do the math and say, all right, how much does it cost to maintain the vehicle? But if I left my vehicle at home only 20% of the time, and on those days either took a trolley or a bus or a combination of, rideshare and a bus, right, that actually does save more significant dollars than we really think.
Absolutely. And that's that service part mm-hmm. that the marketplace has identified. Really, when you look at our assets, I have vehicles, you have vehicles, those assets spend about 90% of its time sitting. Mm-hmm. It's not really being utilized. So if you're looking at it from a pure financial standpoint,
Yes.
you have an asset that's sitting there that's underutilized. Those that utilize it will more likely be those that use it for their work, right?
Yes.
And so forth, which is where we also have some products that we'd like to offer, and we do offer to our to customers and those here in San Antonio, called ViaWorks. So ViaWorks is a product line that we have that we make available, such as a van pull service that we help cover some of the cost of the van pull for those individuals that might want to lease that kind of service together. That would be an idea of where leasing an asset would make a lot more sense than buying an asset.
Exactly. So, and what I really love about it is with any small, medium, or large business owner, much of the difficulty falls in that HR space, trying to make sure that there's benefits to those employees. Some of those small businesses don't have an array of benefits, but ViaWorks can be part of that, let's say, that family tree of benefits, and it makes sure that's nothing's happening. People are not calling in saying, I didn't have a ride to work, or there was some issues, my car didn't start, or my family member had to borrow it, whatever those items are. ViaWorks is a great option, especially when you have a set schedule for those employees. So just explain briefly how it works.
So we recognize also, we live in a great community and a great business sector. We're low unemployment. We enjoy low unemployment, but that's the good news and the bad news. So there's a great competition for employment. And those folks that you want to be able to deliver to your offices and get work out of them 8 hours a day, they need a reliable transportation system that will get them from point A to point B, and point B being your offices or your warehouse or wherever the case might be. So we recognize that a bus is not always going to be the answer for that. While we do offer businesses a collective volume discount on bus rides through our Easy Rider program, we also offer some larger organizations an Easy Pass program, where the organizations such as the City of San Antonio, Bexar County, who participate, they buy these passes for every single one of their employees that they can utilize our transit system at no cost to the employee. Those are good examples of where organizations are coming together and doing this. But we also have programs that are more tailored towards a small business and medium and even large businesses, as we mentioned earlier with our van pull. Our van pull program is an example of where we are putting together a ride share within that organization, within your organization. You run the Chamber of Commerce. There could be a ride share among your employees that they all join together, pitch in together. VIA underwrites a big part of that, so we underwrite all the maintenance costs for that. And we also have a subsidy per rider that we invest into it, because we believe that it is very much like a transportation rebate program. We definitely see the opportunity that it's the right balance for you as a organization, as a business member, and your employees to then share in the cost of getting to work.
Yeah, and that's what's important, excuse me, is how that business owner can help support their employees to make that a more thriving location. And I think that's great, and it's reliable. You know that van is always there. You know it's always going to be running. And I can't stress enough, it doesn't matter if you only have 2 employees or 5 employees or 125 employees. It works. You're there.
And we'll even add to the part that we also recognize that some of the schedules may differ once you get to your place of business. Some folks may need to work late.
Yes.
So we offer a guaranteed ride home as part of the van pull program, where if you have to work late and the rest of your van pull had to leave, to end their shift or end their day, we still guarantee you a ride home, and we do it through a rideshare program that we have together with Yellow Cab.
That's wonderful. That's easy. And the good thing is we can recommend to all of our small business owners, they can call VIA and get someone to walk them through the process step by step.
Absolutely.
To make sure I don't know if I qualify for it. I don't know if this is going to fit my company. Someone is there.
Yeah, we have experts that are standing by that can help you. First of all, help you identify which employees may be living and working in out of the same area that we might be able to pull together. We'll help you identify that. We'll also, in some cases, help you if you might qualify for certain benefits on your taxes that you pay the government. So the government offers a program where there is incentives for businesses to also invest in this alternative mobility option that we offer. They'll also help you identify that as well. If you're a federal employee, federal employees all participate or have the ability to participate in a federal program where the federal government would repay your cost for van pool.
Wow.
So we see a great deal of partners that we have with the federal government with that type of program that's available. But we have small businesses alike, large businesses and medium-sized businesses where they want a reliable, customized solution for their employees to get them there reliably, as you said earlier.
Yes.
And then employees want to also be able to have a reliable way to get to work.
Yes.
So they can also have that focus as well.
So who should they call? Right now, the director of HR wants to go ahead and find out about the program, or a business owner. Where are they calling?
So they can call our 362-2020 number and ask for Priscilla Engel. And Priscilla Engel, who works for me, is in charge of our van pool program.
Okay.
And she'll be able to get the right folks, if not herself, out to your place of business and sit with you and sit with your employees and talk to them about what their options could be.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I had a chance to take a ride last week utilizing the Via Link.
Yes.
And that is a fantastic pilot program on the Northeast side, which I loved. It was so easy. I couldn't believe it.
It is a defining product for our company, our organization, our agency. What I mean by that, it's really going to change the way Via is positioned itself as that last mile, if not a mobility in general type of option. So what we're talking about here is Via Link. Via Link is a service that we are piloting in the northeast part of San Antonio along Nacogdoches Road up towards 1604. It's about a 14-mile square mile area. And in that area, we are offering a van service that's very customized to your schedule.
Yes.
And it operates very similar to an Uber or Lyft, where you call up the program, you call up your ride as you would with rideshare on an app.
Yes.
And through that app, you can get your Via service. Typically, it's been running in about 7 minutes. So you book the ride, and it's usually coming around 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were able to book hours, and I think maybe it arrived in 5. And
Yes.
no one knew that we were going to use that. No one was tipped off. It just happened that someone was in that area. It also gave us a chance to talk to other riders because they jumped on.
Oh, yep.
So we had a shared ride, and some of the folks were just amazed at how quick it was. They loved it. So if you haven't tried it, you need to try it. You can just go on the website, which is via.org.
Viainfo.net.
Viainfo.net, and all the products are there, and you can find out anything that you'd like to know about Via Link, Via Works, the general service, and get someone on the phone as a staffer just to learn more in general if you want to have that live interaction.
Absolutely.
Before we end this segment, now we know our new chairperson for Via, I believe, said this is, what did he say, the decade of transportation?
He said that since we're ending in 2019 within 6 months or so forth, he wants the next decade to be known as the decade of mobility.
Decade of mobility, there you go. And with that, there are a lot of things that need to be done under the realm of the legislature.
Yes.
So please tell us what you and your team have been working on and where we're going from here and how the public can help.
Absolutely. It starts with, as good as we are, and we try to be, and we strive every day to be that good and great stewards of public dollars and delivering good quality service. we also know we're underfunded. And that's a matter of fact as the underfunded. 40 years ago, this community elected to only fund VIA at half the amount that other communities funded a full amount. Austin, Houston, and Dallas, for example, those transit systems are funded twice as much as we are. So we got a lot of catching up to do. And that's what we were doing up at the legislature. We are looking for options to increase that funding because our growth isn't stopping.
Right.
Our size isn't stopping as square miles that we have to serve.
Right.
And that's what's incredible to think about it. VIA half as funded as Houston Metro is, for example, but yet we cover almost the exact same square miles as Houston Metro does.
It's amazing.
It's incredible when you put those in perspective. We have clearly a lot of different slides that we can definitely provide and drive people towards on our Facebook information about this disparity. But we are not going to stop because we see the critical component that this means for our community. If we just look at the last 20 years of what that half cent, it really is. So when the legislature created an MTA tax, a Metropolitan Transit Authority tax, roughly about 40 years ago, it put aside saying within your sales tax, a penny could be dedicated to your mass transit system. So that's that penny that Houston, Austin, and Dallas elected to go with that full penny. That's the half penny that we elected here in San Antonio to do. To put it into perspective, over the last 20 years, that's about $5 billion more of investment for transportation that Houston has had versus San Antonio.
That we have not had.
So we not only need to just get back to par on getting that funding, but because we're behind, we need to really propel ourselves forward, and that's what we're hoping to do with the legislature in the next session. The legislature and the leaders told us, come back next session and let's have some more discussion and dialogue about helping San Antonio, because they realize that we're the fastest growing large city in Texas. As a matter of fact, in the United States.
Wow.
We're the largest growing by population city in the United States. That's incredible. Secondly, it's also a very vast area that we cover. I like to say, Christy, that we celebrated 300 years as a community last year. So we'll say it took us 300 years to grow to 1.5 million citizens.
Yes.
We'll double that in the next 25 years. That's how fast the growth it is.
That's amazing. Well, and I know that our time has run out, but thank you so much for that information. And people need to know that VIA Transit is a reliable, safe service. You can come to any of the wonderful facilities, to whether you're going to catch a ride, whether you're going to buy the pass for a month, for a week, maybe for the year. I ride it with my 14-year-old son, who he and I have been riding since he was about 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And I mean, we're happy with it. We understand that this is a great space. And by the way, in case we'll upload a couple of photos later, but we are in Centro Plaza, which is a beautiful space.
Absolutely.
Amazing. There's plenty of security here. And hopefully one day there'll be some additional amenities. I know that there's a customer service location here.
Yeah, absolutely. We
so
have that. Yep.
You can get whatever you need. So thank you so much for joining us and giving us that little insight on VIA Metropolitan Transit.
Glad to be here, and I appreciate your time this morning.
So thank you everyone for joining us. I appreciate it. We will see you in 2 weeks. And don't forget that the West San Antonio Chamber will be hosting a council breakfast on July 17th, 7:30 in the morning, with 4 of our council members. Get more information at westsanantoniochamber.org or on our Facebook page, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.